Focus, just meditate. Don't feel the hate, you the energy and levitate. Contemplate, make sure your next decision great. Thank me later, I just showed you how to elevate. About the shit in our communities. Drop knowledge just to spread opportunities. And as always, think with greatness. Into the next song.
Tua Tagovailoa threw for 299 yards.
Yet.
The Miami Dolphins raced out to a 30-point lead before holding on for their 5th straight win. 30-15 over the Texans. The win puts the Dolphins back on top of the AFC East, and they are, as they say, in control of their own destiny. Means if you win every single game, you're good. On having a newfound belief in himself under this new coaching staff, here's Tua.
I think anyone here can attest to someone believing in them, and how that changes how they see, but also things around them. So perspective, but it was awesome.
The Dolphins have the most dangerous offense in the NFL, Jay.
Yo, I'm sitting there watching the game the other day, Key. I'm not saying it's at the same level as Kansas City because Patrick Mahomes is Houdini, but it's damn near close, man. I mean, he had 278 yards at the half. So, with Jeff Wilson Jr., with the way he's playing, with the wide receiving core, with the accuracy of Tua not turning the ball over, you can make a case that they're right there with Kansas City for the most exciting offense in the league.
Yeah, they got an exciting offense. Harry Douglas, ESPN football analyst and radio host. Harry, do the Dolphins?
Good morning.
Do the Dolphins have the most dangerous offense in the NFL?
They have one of them. I just love where this team is at right now. I have them as the second best team in the AFC at the moment. Well, the way Tua's playing, you talk about a guy who leads the NFL in QBR and passing rating, second in completion percentage. But he's just getting the job done, and his confidence has risen to another level over these last, I'll say, 6-7 games.
Key to the Dolphins.
I'm not going to be, everything's positive. I was at the USC game this weekend, and as y'all know, Los Angeles in general, the West Coast is a huge Polynesian Polynesian culture here in the West Coast. So I'm at the USC game, and I got at least 3, maybe 4 polys that walked up to me, and they're like, Key, why you dogging my homeboy? That's my cousin, the whole deal. I'm like, all right, man, I'm not dogging. Man, like, no, man, I get it, but I got to give Tua love. Tua out there cooking. I can't say anything. He's doing what he's supposed to do. Yeah. He's out there cooking at the beginning of the season. Yes, there was question marks on what he would be as a quarterback. He certainly have proven me extremely wrong. And my Polynesian brothers that's out there in our community, they kind of let me know, hey, man, what you doing? Leave my guy alone. I'm like, all right, man, I got you.
I like hearing you talk that way, Key. And Harry, Tua only had 1 3-and-out, man. Only 1 3-and-out yesterday.
He reads defenses fast, gets rid of the ball fast, gets the ball to where it needs to be. Who's having the better season, though? Him or Jalen Hurts? To me, Patrick Mahomes is on top, right? Now we're talking about who's pushing Mahomes. Is it Hurts or Tua, Harry?
I'm going to go with Jalen Hurts with the simple fact that Jalen Hurts has played every game this year. Right now, I think they're 10-1. That's something to be said for. That's the best record in the National Football League. You just can't ignore that, especially at the quarterback position when you're touching the football every time. We seen yesterday, man, I was so disappointed in the Green Bay Packers. At what point are these defenses going to start putting a spy on Jalen Hurts? Because I called the game on ESPN Radio against the Colts, and they didn't do it defensively. And we seen Jalen Hurts score the game-winning touchdown. So at what point are these defenses going to start putting a spy on Hurts? I know it's kind of difficult with the way the Eagles may run their offense, but Jalen Hurts is phenomenal. And his growth this year from the quarterback position, I'll put him ahead of Tua. He has more games played this season, but Tua's right underneath him.
Harry, you mean like LeBron James did in Madden on Jalen Ramsey? Put a spy on him like that? That's what
I mean, the bottom line is when you come off the edge on Jalen Hurts, boy, you better cut the angle because he might take it to the house on you. Yep. It's crazy. So here are the MVP odds as of right now. Mahomes at -160. The odds agree with you, Harry. Hurts at +400, Tua at +500, probably because of the missed games. Although I got to tell you, Jay, I give Tua extra credit for that because you get knocked out like that. And then 4 days later, he had that neurological event. He's stumbling around, legs gone. Clearly something happened. Call it a concussion or whatever you want. Something happened. 4 days later, his hands are rigid on his back. Oh, my God, what's going to happen to his career? And you blink, whatever the wisdom of him playing this season, you blink, he's in the MVP conversation. That's inspirational.
I mean, I think they're neck and neck at number 2. They're side by side from each other, and while Patrick Mahomes is number 1. And I think how they play down the stretch will really determine. I know I kind of go back to what Key said the other day, and I think he was right. I think Patrick Mahomes has such a lead that I don't see either one of those guys really catching him unless he really fumbles the bag.
One bad game from Mahomes. One good game from either one of those guys.
One? I think it would take multiple games.
I think one.
I think it would take multiple games for Patrick Mahomes.
To pass.
Yeah,
like basically catch him. One.
I see Miami and Tua down the stretch with a couple losses. I don't necessarily see Jalen Hurts based on who they're playing outside of Dallas really folding and getting some losses. I think what you're going to see in Jalen is exactly what you've been seeing. Keeping it under 30 attempts, 200 yards, couple touchdowns, no turnovers, and they are not going to drop as many games down the stretch. I think Miami, I still got Miami probably going to New England and losing that game because of the weather, going to Buffalo, losing that on a revenge tip for Buffalo because of weather. I don't know that the Eagles got 2 losses left in
Harry, not just that, Harry. They play at 49ers, at Chargers, at Bills, and Packers at home, then at Pats.
Yeah, that's Miami's got a rough.
So
Miami's got a little bit of a rough go.
I would say this: if Tua can put together a series where in those last 6 games he goes 4-2 or 5-1, that MVP race is going to get real interesting because that's a gauntlet right there. Your last 6 games: 49ers, Chargers, Bills. Packers probably not, New England, the Jets, just about every team on there outside of the Packers.
Where do they play the Packers
are in contention for the playoffs. They play them at home.
Oh, okay.
Down in Miami.
That's good, though. I was saying going to Green Bay. I just have a belief, Harry, in dome teams outdoors in the cold weather and warm weather teams struggle. I've been there, man. I played in Tampa. When we went up to Philly, it was cold. We always struggled. When we went to Chicago, it was cold. Green Bay, we always struggled. So I could see it. That was one of the things when we got the Florida teams when I played in New York. We got them up in New York during the cold. We always popped them.
But can y'all imagine if the Dolphins get the number 1 seed in the AFC though, and everybody has to go through Miami to get to the Super Bowl?
And to Harry's point, guys, because I want to get into Aaron Rodgers, but to Harry's point, given the gauntlet they have to run, if he goes 5-1 or even 4-2, given the teams the schedule we just mentioned, that's a strong MVP candidacy right there. Should he be successful and put up the numbers? Harry, we've been talking about this morning. Aaron Rodgers had to come out in for the fourth quarter with the ribs. They were losing anyway. You want to take a look at Jordan Love at some point. Should the Packers consider taking Rodgers out now and starting Jordan Love for the rest of the season, taking a look at what they got there?
First, I'll see the extent of the injury with Aaron Rodgers, and I think he mentioned that if it's not where he wants it to be, he probably won't be out there. But if it's anywhere close to a case where he can play, he's gonna go out there. You talk to him and you kind of make that decision. But the Packers right now, they're 4-8. They're not gonna make the playoffs. I would like to see my young quarterback in Jordan Love build that rapport with these young receivers as well. And we kind of seen it a little bit last night when he went into the ball game. I didn't think he did a bad job. I actually thought he did a great job. So that's something that should be on the table if you're the GM, if you're the owner, if you're Matt LaFleur. You got to consider it moving forward because the Packers are not making the playoffs, guys. Let me say that one more time. And I said it on This Just In a few weeks ago, Max. People were side-eyeing me, and I said they didn't have a chance. I didn't think they can go through this gauntlet and win games, and they're not winning.
2 p.m. Eastern. This just in.
Well, why even risk it with Aaron Rodgers? I mean,
exactly.
Why risk it? It's an oblique and it's the thumb. It's all that. If anything, I would talk him to the fact, hey, look, you are bruised up right now. I know you're a competitor. You are a main guy. But let's give the rest of the season to the young guy.
I agree. It just feels like watching the game last night. he threw a couple dimes. They came back on and they were running the ball well, and they came back on him, and they missed the extra point, but they were about to go up 21-20, right? And I thought to myself at that moment, oh my God, here comes Aaron Rodgers. Here come the Packers. He's actually going to hang around it. No, but they lost the game. That was the game they needed to win. They lost it. Harry Douglas, ESPN football analyst and ESPN radio host. Always great talking to you, Harry.
Hey, Key, I see your Trojans, my man. I hope they make the playoffs so I can have you on my show, Countdown to College Game Day. Ooh. You know what I mean? I know you're going to look out for your boy. You good for it, man. You a solid gentleman, my man.
I ain't talking to you.
Hey, Harry.
Tua Tagovailoa threw for 299 yards.
Yet.
The Miami Dolphins raced out to a 30-point lead before holding on for their 5th straight win. 30-15 over the Texans. The win puts the Dolphins back on top of the AFC East, and they are, as they say, in control of their own destiny. Means if you win every single game, you're good. On having a newfound belief in himself under this new coaching staff, here's Tua.
You know, I think anyone here can attest to someone believing in them, and you know how that changes how they see